Hello, good afternoon. Today I will be talking about domestic abuse and it's to inform my audience about the different domestic abuses they are so they can help their family members or friends at some point and they can recognize the signs and to report it immediately because it can end badly into a friend or family member even dying from this domestic abuse. Now, according to the Psychology Today website, every 9 seconds there is a woman being abused. 20 people are abused from their significant other every minute, and there are more than 200,000 calls made to the hotline every year. Now, domestic abuse can affect anybody. Now, we may sometimes not notice the bruises that they may hide or how bad they're hurting inside, but at some point in our life, if you haven't already, you may know somebody who has been domestically abused. Now, I've done extensive research on domestic violence, and it was really sad reading some of the stories, but most of them had happy endings. Now, myself, I've never been in a domestic abuse relationship or have encountered it, but I have had some family members been through it, unfortunately, and it was hard, but all we can do is be there for them. Now, domestic abuse happens all over the world. We need to become more educated and notice the signs that they show us so we can help them or ourselves if we are ever in that situation. Now let's look at the different abuses. There are 6 different abuses. There are physical and emotional abuse, sexual and reproduction, and financial and digital abuse. The physical is when they're punching, slapping, or kicking you, and emotional is when they're calling your names or they become possessive over you. And the sexual is when they make you dress in a certain way or when you want or when they force you to have sex. And the reproductive is when they give you drugs or alcohol so you can get in the mood. And financial is when you have a job but they don't let you work the hours they give you, or when they give you an allowance, or they're always keeping tabs on what you're wasting money on. And the digital abuse is when they have a tracker on you, whether it may be your phone or your card, or they always want the passwords from your social media, or they want you to send explicit images to your partner. Now, domestic abuse doesn't discriminate no matter your gender, your race, your sex orientation, your religion, or your age. Now, according to the HuffPost by Alana Vigianos in 2011, 1,509 women were killed by men they knew. 4,774,000 have experienced physical violence. 1 in 7 men have been victims of abuse. 2 in 5 gay or bisexual people who suffer from violence have experienced that violence. Now, why is it difficult to leave? People who have never been through domestic abuse always say to themselves, why don't they just leave the relationship? Why are they still there? Because when they try to leave, that becomes the most dangerous time for them to leave, because they are testing their partner's powers, and it's when they become more violent, when they've lost control of their partner, so they want that control back, and that's when they become more violent to them. Or maybe just simple, they're just afraid to leave. And sometimes they're so talked down on, they lose their self-esteem, that they think nobody will love them, that the only person who will love them is the partner they're with right now. Or maybe it could be the environment they grew up in. You know, their grandparents or their parents where the men beat the woman or woman beat the man. However, maybe they grew up in that environment. So when they get in a relationship like that, they think it's okay. There are many other reasons on why they're afraid to leave, but these are some of the most common. Now, it's not easy to talk about, but there is plenty of help and prevention. Be there when they ask you to be there. Notice the bruises or marks they have. Notice when they're different or when they're distant, when they may call you every day or something. Just notice those little things. There's the hotline that they always 24 hours, 24/7. You may talk to them. You may call whenever you want. Notify police immediately before it gets worse. And get the word out yourself if needed. And go to volunteer events that support the victims. Now, in conclusion, domestic abuse issues, they you don't many don't know the signs or the issues they may go through, but like I said before, be there, listen to them because they do need you, and keep an eye on those signs I just went over. Now, here's a quote by Deepika Padukone. Realize that you are not alone, that we are in this together, and most importantly, there is always hope. Now, I hope this story has helped you and you've enjoyed it.